When you start Bleach, the Soul Society is introduced as the good guys. You've got the Gotei 13, the Soul Reapers, and this massive world that's supposed to keep the balance of the universe. It looks like a standard hero faction, but if you actually look at the lore, the Soul Society is run by a bunch of shady, out-of-touch noble families who have been running a massive cover-up for thousands of years. To understand why everything is so broken, you have to look at the foundation of their entire world, the Soul King. The story tells you the Soul King is a god who rules over everything, but when we finally see him, he isn't sitting on a throne. He is a mutilated corpse trapped inside a giant floating crystal ball. He has no arms, no legs, and his internal organs were ripped out. Thousands of years ago, the world was just one big chaotic soup where life and death didn't exist. The Soul King showed up and used his reality-warping powers to stabilize things, but the original 5 noble families of the Soul Society got greedy. They wanted control, and they were terrified of his power. So they ambushed him, chopped off his limbs, and locked what was left of him inside a magical barrier to act as a permanent spiritual battery. Every single world in the show, the human world, the Soul Society, Hueco Mundo, only exists because this chopped-up god is being forced to hold them apart. The Soul Reapers literally built their entire civilization on top of a horrific crime, and that shady behavior never stopped. The modern Soul Society is completely rotten from the top down. Look at the Central 46. These are the judges who make all the laws, and they will sentence someone to death for minor rule breaking just to keep total control. Then you have the noble families, like Byakuya's clan, who act like they are completely untouchable and treat the regular souls living in the slums like garbage. But the biggest red flag is Squad 12, specifically the Research and Development Department. Mayuri Kurotsuchi is treated like an ally, but the guy is a literal mad scientist. When we first meet him, he is blowing up his own squad members just to use them as a distraction. He spent decades experimenting on innocent Quincy souls, torturing them just to see how their powers worked. Later in the series, he casually deletes thousands of innocent souls in the slums just to fix a balance issue in the spiritual web. The fact that the head captain looks at Mayuri and just lets him keep doing whatever he wants tells you everything you need to know about their morals. When you realize how messed up the system is, the main villains start making a lot of sense. Take Sosuke Aizen. Everyone remembers him for the iconic hair slickback and the god complex. But why did he actually betray everyone? Because he found out the truth about the Soul King. Aizen has a massive ego, and he couldn't stand the fact that his entire existence was being dictated by a chopped-up corpse in a basement. He didn't want to rule just to be evil. He wanted to overthrow the corrupt noble system and become the new god so the world would actually have a real conscious leader. Then you have Yhwach and the Quincy. Their motivation is even more personal. Yhwach is the actual son of the Soul King. Imagine finding out that a bunch of Soul Reapers ambushed your dad, cut his arms off, and turned him into a generator. Yhwach's entire goal was to smash the worlds back together, eliminate the concept of death entirely, and put his father out of his misery. Ichigo is out here fighting with his life on the line, but at the end of the day, he's basically acting as the unpaid security guard for a highly corrupt government. So if the villains are right and the government is corrupt, who is actually saving the day? It's not Ichigo. Ichigo just punches whatever is in front of him. The guy actually holding reality together with duct tape and pure brain power is Kisuke Urahara. Everyone memes on Urahara because he looks like a lazy, shady shopkeeper who refuses to do any real work. But Urahara is the ultimate mastermind. He is the one who invented the Hogyoku, the literal reality-warping marble that Aizen stole. He built secret training grounds under the city, figured out how to travel between dimensions safely, and created custom bodies for souls. When the Quincy invasion happens and the Soul Society is completely losing their minds because their bankais are being stolen, Urahara doesn't panic. He locks himself in a lab, analyzes the pure science of how Quincy powers work, and invents a simple pill that poisons the villains and instantly gives everyone their powers back. Even in the final fight against Aizen, when Ichigo used up all his power and still couldn't completely finish the job, it was Urahara's secret Keto spell that planted itself inside Aizen and sealed him away permanently. Urahara knows exactly how corrupt the Soul Society is. He was literally exiled by them. But he keeps saving them anyway because he knows that if the system crashes, the universe collapses and everyone dies. He's the guy holding the entire Soul Society together while they treat him like an outcast. At the end of the day, Bleach isn't a simple story about good guys fighting monsters. It's a story where the main villains actually had the right idea, but they were trying to tear down the world to fix it. Aizen and Yhwach weren't just evil for the sake of it, they were trying to destroy a system built on a horrific crime. If it weren't for Kisuke Urahara constantly bailing the Soul Society out and patching up their messes, the old system would have fallen, and the villains would have actually succeeded in changing the world. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below, subscribe if you're new, and see ya.